Hi guys, welcome to Terminal Velocity. Today's episode is the 7th part of the Zelda vs. series, Four Swords vs. Ocarina of Time. Before we get into that, just a quick reminder, only a small percentage of you guys watching are actually subscribed, so if you like my content, be sure to subscribe as well as leave a like on my video. The first category we have is creativity. This is actually a fairly close category. While Ocarina of Time is a very creative game, Four Swords' different player aspect is also very creative, and I'm actually going to have to give the win to Four Swords. The next category we have is combat. Ocarina of Time literally invented Z-targeting in combat, as well as having shield maneuvering and a variety of items. While Four Swords has a couple items, it doesn't nearly compare to Ocarina of Time's variety. The next category is exploration. Ocarina of Time has pretty good exploration. While it doesn't have the best, it definitely passes Four Swords, which probably has one of the least exploration amounts in the whole entire series. And Ocarina of Time has a fairly large overworld. The next category we have is items. While Four Swords has a couple items, Ocarina of Time completely crushes it in this category, having amazing item variation, as well as introducing a lot of new items into either the series or to 3D, which gives it the definite win in this category. The next category is enemies. While Ocarina of Time has great bosses, that's a different category, as it kind of lacks in normal enemies. While Four Swords has actually pretty good normal enemies, and so I think it deserves a win in this category. The next category we have is dungeons. While Four Swords has okay dungeons for a 2D Zelda game, Ocarina of Time has absolutely amazing 3D dungeons, and it's not even really close at all in this category, which gives Ocarina of Time another definite win. The next category is characters. While Ocarina of Time has absolutely amazing characters, Four Swords also has a pretty good character and character development. However, it's still nowhere near Ocarina of Time's amazing characters and stories and subplots, which gives it another definite win. The next category we have is story. And once again, while Four Swords actually has a surprisingly good story for being a GBA game, Ocarina of Time once again completely eclipses Four Swords in this category. The next category we have is emotion. And the same story where Four Swords actually has a pretty good emotion, but Ocarina of Time beats it out again with its massive emotion, probably second only to maybe Majora's Mask and possibly Twilight Princess. The next category we have is progression, and this is a little different from the last few categories, as it actually isn't as close. Ocarina of Time does have pretty good progression, but it sort of splits the game into two halves. The beginner child half, which doesn't really have too much challenge, and then the secondary adult half, which has a lot more challenge. And there isn't really like a middle ground between these two. And Four Swords definitely has more progression, which gives it the point in this category. The next category we have is side content. While Four Swords has a tiny bit in the area of side content, it doesn't really have that much. And Ocarina of Time honestly doesn't have too much either, but it definitely has more than Four Swords does, which gets it the point in this category. The next category we have is music. While Ocarina of Time is definitely known a lot for its music, Four Swords music is low quality to say the least, which gives Ocarina of Time an easy win in this category. The next category we have is bosses. Earlier I was stating on how good Ocarina of Time's bosses are. And while Four Swords does have pretty okay bosses, there's nothing wrong with them, Ocarina of Time definitely has the win in this category. The next category we have is art style. While Ocarina of Time is a 3D game, which generally would give it an advantage in art style, it is an N64 game, which doesn't give it very much variety in terms of art style, while Four Swords actually has a really great art style, which gets it, surprisingly, the win in this category. The next category we have is World. While Ocarina of Time does have more exploration than Four Swords, the world in most places is very barren, and it seems like there isn't too much to do, while Four Swords is a lot more compact and feels like there's a lot more to do, which gets it the win in this category. The next category is difficulty, and once again, at the peak of the games, the difficulty goes to the harder in Ocarina of Time. While the Four Swords is definitely not an easy game in any definition, it's definitely easier at its hardest points than Ocarina of Time. The final category is replay value. While Four Swords doesn't have the best replay value, Ocarina of Time is kind of long, and not the funnest to play again. It is definitely more fun to play than Four Swords, despite being significantly longer. It just has better feel, and as I stated before, it's better than Four Swords in most aspects, which gives it the point in this category, ultimately having it win this round of Zelda Versus. Well, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'm glad you stopped in to watch Ocarina of Time completely bully Four Swords for 8.5 minutes. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you watch some of my other videos and consider subscribing. This is Terminal Velocity, signing out.